Jeff and Diane are driving their car on a scenic highway surrounded by dense forests. They are happy laughing, discussing plans for the future. At one point, they run out of gas and decide to stop at the nearest gas station. Diana says she'll be back soon and disappears. As time passes, Jeff gets worried, gets out of the car, and looks around. The store is small, not many people. He goes inside, looking for Diane with his eyes, but she's nowhere to be found. The cashier says he didn't see her. No one saw where she went. Cars pull in and out. The day goes on, but it's like time has stopped for him. He goes into the store again, asking every customer if anyone has seen his girlfriend. No one can help. Panic grows. He calls her name, runs around the gas station, looks in the restroom, in the storage rooms, but Diana has vanished without a trace. Grief and despair became Jeff's constant companions. He became a shadow of himself, obsessed with the sole thought of finding out what had happened to Diana. He left his job, sold his car, and threw all his energy and resources into the search. He put up posters with her picture, interviewed witnesses, contacted the police, but all in vain. Diana seemed to have fallen through the earth. His life became an endless cycle of hope and disappointment. Every new clue, every witness report would ignite a spark of hope in him, but it would immediately go out, leaving only a bitter residue. He could not move on until he knew the truth, no matter how terrible it might be. One day, tired and exhausted, he stopped at a small diner on the outskirts of town. There he met Rita, a waitress with a kind heart and sympathetic eyes. She listened to his story without interrupting or judging. She saw his pain and suffering and sincerely sympathized with his grief. Rita became a ray of light in the darkness for Jeff. She supported him, listened to his endless stories about Diana, helped him in his search. Gradually, a bond of mutual respect and understanding developed between them. A year later, they became a couple and settled together in a small apartment in Seattle. Jeff, despite Rita's support, couldn't completely get rid of his obsession. He still spent his days studying old newspaper clippings, calling police stations, trying to find any information about Diana. Rita tried to stay out of his way, realizing it was his way of coping with his grief. One day, Jeff, who had dreamed of being a writer in the past, decided to try his hand at writing a book about Diana's disappearance. He met a publisher who was interested in his story and offered him a contract. Working on the book became a kind of therapy for Jeff. He immersed himself in his memories, trying to recreate every moment spent with Diana. Every detail of that fateful day at the gas station. It is at this point in Jeff's life that Barney reappears. He comes out to Jeff. At the restaurant where Jeff and Rita are having dinner, Barney approaches him, introduces himself and tells him that he knows what happened to Diane. Barney grinningly tells him that he kidnapped her. Jeff is shocked and puzzled. Why is Barney telling him this? Barney explains to Jeff that he had been planning the kidnapping for years and wanted to prove to himself that he could do it. He talks about how he studied human behavior, developed a plan, and how he was able to pull it off. Barney offers Jeff a deal. He will tell him all the details of Diana's disappearance if Jeff agrees to go through the same thing she went through. He wants to show Jeff what real despair and powerlessness is. Jeff refuses, but Barney insists. He says it's the only way to find out the truth. Jeff falls into despair. He doesn't know what to do. On one hand, he wants to find out what happened to Diane, but on the other, he doesn't want to put himself in danger. Rita begs him to give up this crazy idea, but Jeff is adamant. He feels this is his only chance to find out the truth and set the record straight. Jeff accepts Barney's offer. They go to the same place where Diana disappeared. Barney tells Jeff how he lured Diana, sedated her, and hid her in his house. Jeff listens without interrupting, his heart breaking with pain and rage. Barney takes Jeff to his house, where he shows him the place where he kept her. He talks about her last days, her fear and despair. Jeff can't hold back the tears. He feels guilty for not being able to protect Diane. Barney offers Jeff a cup of coffee. He slips a powerful sleeping pill into it. Jeff drinks the coffee and passes out. When Jeff wakes up, he finds himself in the dark. He is in total darkness, in a confined space, and he is short of air. The walls are cramped. The air is stale. He tries to move, but there is only earth around him. Panic overwhelms him. He starts screaming, thrashing, but no one hears. He realizes that Barney has tricked him. He's going to die without ever knowing the truth. The same thing happened to her. He feels fear, despair, realizing there is no way out. Meanwhile, Rita begins to suspect that something has happened to Jeff. She remembers him talking about looking for him, finds his notes, guesses that he might have gone to meet Barney. She starts investigating, learns about the letter, gets on the trail. She finds Barney, follows him, gets to his house. Inside, she notices strange things, bottles, notes, strange tools. She begins to guess who he really is. She tries to force him to confess, but he is cunning. At one point, she finds the place where Jeff is buried. She starts digging, fighting fatigue, but keeps going. Finally, she reaches him. Jeff is barely breathing, but alive. She pulls him outside. He's gulping air, coming to his senses. Barney tries to stop them, but Jeff stabs him. He falls unconscious. Jeff and Rita run away, leaving him behind. Jeff and Rita look at each other, realizing that life will never be the same. But they made it out. They survived.